I've locked myself up. It's all for you. I've stashed a week's worth of food, my remaining boxes of shotgun shells, pistol clips, ammo, and 10 days' worth of gas in the closet. Drive as far as Mexico, whoever you are, because they're going to spread. Then go to Antarctica. As for me, I don't know. Soon I'm dead. I'm deader than dead. My pistol, you were always there for me. This muzzle is caked with blood. I tried to shoot myself in the head a few hours ago, but I decided not to. I had shot one of those things in the face first, and when I pushed its hot muzzle against my temple, it branded my skin with a penny-shaped hole. I winced a bit from the pain, but then I thought of you, and my pain didn't matter anymore. What mattered was the pain I'm going to cause to you. There goes my ocular. Look at that thing. It's rubbing its last. It doesn't even hurt a bit, even though blood just wells inside my mouth. I just need a little water. I'll wash that off. I'm so itchy, damn it. My right arm is all dry and patchy. I have to scratch. The itch is gone. Maybe I'll just sit here and wait for it to get to me. I can't pull the trigger. I want to die, but I can't. People upstairs. Not dead. I see. I scratch. I scratch. Itchy gun. I mean, the itch is gone. People are tasty. People are tasty. I might as well go there and eat them. I hate it. I eat. I hate and eat. Don't see me. Tasty. I should tell you the truth. Perhaps you already know about the rise of suicides, the homicides, the murders, and then those shambling things that came afterwards. I was there, an eyewitness to the very beginning when we discovered the spores that started this whole mess. It wasn't a lab-created virus or a military experiment gone wrong. It was something far more ancient, something we unearthed from the heart of Africa in the 1980s. Our group was an independent collection of 7 scientists, funded by a private grant, led by a brilliant but reckless virologist named Dr. Aris Thorne. We embarked on an expedition into the heart of a remote African jungle, chasing whispers of a folkloric substance known to the locals as Wanson. The tales were chilling. A substance that, when inhaled, caused madness and dementia. It was said to spread through the beautiful bloom flowers found deep in the area's lush, vibrant jungles. Our hunter, a rugged, stoic man named Peters, was our guide. Angel, a young, idealistic botanist, was obsessed with the beautiful flora, completely unaware of the poison it harbored. The journey was brutal. The air was thick with humidity, the ground a constant bog of mud and insects. But when we found the flowers, they were breathtaking. Their petals pulsed with an otherworldly luminescence, casting a soft, ethereal glow in the undergrowth. Angel was in awe. We set up a makeshift lab west of a small village near Kijuju, a settlement of native people who had wisely shunned the bloom-infested areas. It wasn't long before our first test subject, a native man who had exhibited symptoms, was brought to us. We placed him in a sterile, airtight chamber, a sealed plate-glass room with one-way mirrors. From outside, we had a clear, horrifying view. Initially, he seemed normal, albeit confused. We left him adequate food and water, believing we were simply studying the psychological effects of a hallucinogen. But the Wanzen was far more sinister. We watched in stunned silence as the effects took hold. First, his skin began to pale, turning his otherwise dark complexion into a dry, cracked gray. Blotches formed, then weeping sores. He would sit in a corner muttering in a language we didn't understand. Over weeks of isolation, his skin turned into a gray, cracked husk, peeling away in greenish leprous patches. He blabbered on and on, his voice a hoarse, blubbering sound. It was the necrosis we were witnessing, the slow, painful death of living tissue. Then came the madness. One morning he began to slam his head against the glass. He inflicted wounds on himself, scratching at his face with his fingernails until blood ran down his cheeks. He kept on moving, seemingly oblivious to the pain. Days later, he self-terminated, using a piece of his bed frame to gouge his eyes out and puncture his own throat. We watched him fall, his limbs twitching violently on the floor. As we prepared to transport the body for burial, we noticed something that chilled us to the bone. The corpse was twitching rapidly. It wasn't just a reflex, it was a movement, a desire. It was as if the body still wanted to move. It was too strange, too purposeful, to be called a necrotic twitch. It was a macabre puppet dance. After a rapid succession of twitches, the body simply went limp again. We gave the man a proper burial, but the memory haunted us. Our second experiment was with a heavily wounded man exhibiting the same symptoms. This is where we made our second and most terrifying discovery. The spores induced cellular reproduction within the bloodstream, a cancerous, uncontrolled growth that created cell after cell after cell. We watched in horror as the heavily wounded man started to grow an inhuman amount of muscle and tissue around the injured parts of his body. We sedated him and placed him in the isolation room. The results astonishing and ghastly. The spores regenerated the wounded man's body, but with a horrifying side effect: a red, mucky pigmentation on his skin. The infected man showed signs of intense Wendigo psychosis, an insatiable, overwhelming desire to feed on human flesh. As the days passed, I grew weary and tired. My colleagues were all on edge, their faces pale with fear. When his screaming started, it was a sound that could peel paint off walls. He screamed for days on end, a guttural, inhuman shriek that drove us to our knees. Then one morning, We woke to silence. We cautiously approached the chamber and saw a bullet hole in his chest. The reddish man lay there, lifeless. I asked Peters, our hunter, if he had taken the merciful shot. No, he said, his face a mask of shock. Angel grabbed my gun when I was sleeping. We found Angel, the young botanist, curled in a fetal position in the corner of the lab. The gun lay in her hand, her body shaking with sobs. She whispered, "It bit me, it bit me. I can't believe it bit me." When we examined her arm, we found a deep, ragged bite mark. "I just wanted to take a blood sample," she whimpered, "and he bit me, so I shot him. I had to. I shot him through the chest." We had taken every precaution to remain sterile, to avoid contact with the agent, but it had found a way. Angel was clearly harboring the first stage of the symptoms. As we cautiously approached to restrain her, she seemed to know our intent. She raised the gun and simply shot herself in the chest, not the head. She didn't want to die. She just wanted to stop us. After that incident, we decided to get the hell out of there. We gave them proper burials and fled Africa. Due to a colleague's Native American ancestry and the cannibalistic symptoms, we named the condition the Wendigo Complex, but the case was far, far from over. There was a final symptom, and out of the 4, this was the worst. The twitching I spoke about before. It gets worse. We got a report of a man with the Wanson agent who had killed himself. The medical examiner was about to perform an autopsy when the man, whose rib cage was exposed, shambled towards the door. His skin was gray, his eyes pupilless, and he let out a great moan before falling to the floor. His internal organs spread all around. We were terrified, beyond comparison, but I suppose it was too late for us. We realized the spores had adapted. With the outbreaks of a flu-like virus near the bloom-infested areas, the Wanson spores had assimilated the characteristics of that virus, turning into a deadly, agile weapon. The agent now spread through the blood, not just inhalation. The occurrences of the infected were spreading rapidly, though the virus was still not widespread enough to gain public attention. 2 months later, everything changed. Bizarre murders occurred around the world, with people apparently being eaten. Sightings prevailed of groups of people eating other groups of people. It was pure madness. To the few of us who knew about the Wendigo Complex, this was a depressing, sickening thought. Through the months that followed, I lost almost all my remaining colleagues. They died by their own hands, guilty of the monsters they had become, or were killed by the new creatures. The first official sightings of the now named Wendigo men were in a small Floridian island. But by that time, the virus was already spreading across the Americas, Europe, Asia, and Africa. Birds and other animals were vectors, carrying the spores and the infected blood to every corner of the globe. The Wendigo men, the fast, cannibalistic ones, didn't stay for long, but their shambling relatives took their place. The reanimated corpses. We, the last remaining scientists, hesitated to call them what they were. The living dead, just like in the movies. The virus was smart. The whole purpose of the symptoms was to turn a person into a shambling freak. It not only caused necrosis, but it reanimated dead tissue. The Wansen spores were acting as some kind of horrific reanimating reagent. It was terrifying to think that almost everyone in the world was shambling stupidly, craving for the flesh of the living. The virus had become airborne, and the majority of the population had turned into Wendigo men. I don't know why I and the few surviving scientists were spared. We were escorted by a convoy led by the President of the United States towards an underground bunker disguised as a farming ranch. We held up there, waiting for a miracle. I still remember the courageous, ambitious look on the President's face a decade ago. He was unfazed by all the horrors. The soldiers looked up to him as a true leader, the last hope of this American band of Americans. He's dead now. Every year his strength waned. The moans of the living dead echoed through every night we spent under that concrete bunker. One half-baked soldier grudgingly placed a microphone towards the horde, and the moans echoed through our military bunker. Every year, someone would just snap. Our numbers steadily decreased. Gradually, the beasts got in. The President, tired and weary, embraced the fruits with open arms. I killed him myself. He got a chunk of my flesh while I was killing him, though. Damn it. I just coughed. Well, the necrotic virus just spread through my lungs, I suppose. I wonder why I'm not going crazy. Just remember, when one gets infected, he's not the same person as before. The person's dead. This is just his body. Shoot them in the head. Be careful of the water, too. Drink bottled stuff. The virus is waterborne in some parts of America. What else? Necrosis. The virus causes necrosis. I said that before. Just watch out for patches of skin that seem odd. Dry, itchy skin. If you read this, I cannot tell you how common those words were, but I'm afraid to say the other lines. I can't speak of them. It's too horrible. I can't. I just can't. What I'm going to become is 10 times worse than anything ever imagined in this world. I can feel it eating away my body now. I'm dying. I can't whimper. All my strength is gone.